Welcome to the Brain Health Hookup. I'm Laurel Hurst, your resident groovologist, and I believe that better mental health needs to be fun. Here we talk about mental wellness, we explore the physical, emotional, and relational needs we have as humans with the science and practices that help our mental health to flourish. Plus, we dive into my signature method, groove therapy, that engages folks in groove-based music making to lift mood and lower inflammation and pain. I'm so glad you're here. So let's hit it.
Well.
That's a deep subject.
I'm recording this chat with you on such a conflicted day. Martin Luther King Jr. Day, 2025, and the second inauguration of Donald J. Trump. I was born into a year of really great pain in the United States in 1968 after Martin Luther King Jr.'s assassination. And I was raised in an era in the 70s in a predominantly white rural neighborhood or community that made the civil rights movement seem like a thing of the past, like an ancient battle that had been won and put in the past, that a victorious and equitable society was coming into place, and that a new day had dawned for the U.S. after the darkness of slavery. And the whole issue of civil rights abuses weren't really brought up. It was as if the Emancipation Proclamation was made, Reconstruction was done, and I had the privilege as a elementary schooler of believing that all was well in the world. And the reason I wasn't seeing problems between Black people and white people were not that the problems weren't happening, but the fact that we didn't have integrated population. So I was easily deluded into the belief that all was well in race relationships because my teachers honestly told me so. And I don't completely fault them, because I think many of them were idealists. They did have a very generous and gracious view of the value and the worth of safety of every human being. So when they were telling me these things, they weren't trying to keep me ignorant. They truly were thinking of it as hoping for the best. But the delusion I was raised under was that there were no race issues, that was a long put in the past problem for the United States, and that better days were here. Better days weren't just coming, but better days were here. So the biggest problems we were solving in elementary school was things like, what would an amazing invention that could come into being by the year 2000, what could that look like? I remember specifically hoping for an invention that could just, like a big old bonnet hairdryer, go over someone's house and clean their whole house and then move on. That was the kind of problem I thought was left to be solved in 1972, 1978. Around the early 70s, I remember specifically hearing the first groovy song I ever understood as being a groove, something different from what I was raised around. I was raised in a predominantly white Baptist church. I was raised in a predominantly white culture, and I remember specifically this one song coming on the TV and my mom flicking it off and saying something like, "What's with all that repeating? I do not understand that." And it was just off-putting enough that, she flicked it off. And I remember thinking, what is with that? What is going on there? Because I could tell the people who were singing were very earnest and very lively, and something was going on there with their repeating that I didn't understand. So it turns out that group on the television that day was Edwin Hawkins Singers, who came out with "Oh Happy Day" the same year I was born. Oh Happy Day was at first just a rearrangement of a song that was written in 1755 with a new melody written in 1854 and then rewritten in 1968 by Edwin Hawkins as a fundraiser. So the Edwin Hawkins singers, well, the church youth group, actually, the church youth choir wanted to go to, I believe it was the International Convention for the Kojic Church, and to raise money to go as a youth choir, they pressed one custom LP for 500 copies to raise money to go. All this is in, by the way, the Library of Congress record on the song, Oh Happy Day. But Oh Happy Day stands in my mind as the first song I understood as a groove and something that needed to be understood for not just its ability to make us move, but something that was going on in that repeating that was far beyond my ability to understand at that time. Now you know, I call myself the groovologist because I believe we can apply the practice of groove to health concerns, specifically mental health concerns. Why is that? In my book, Groove Therapy, I go into detail from purpose, insight, communication, belonging, confidence, creativity, security, how we can practice and grow in these characteristics, human to fellow human, by practicing groove. So groove doesn't just open our minds to these things. Groove is these things. Groove is a place where we find our meaning, where layered rhythms gather up together and leave opportunity for inserting a new sound, a new voice in this layered arrangement. Each place that those new sound insertions happen, they have purpose and they add distinctiveness to that layered rhythm. Purpose, insight. We're never far away from a single auditory occurrence in a groove. We're never far away from a sound in the ensemble. So we're always able to orient ourselves, right? We're always able to find our place. We're able to gain insight as the groove is unfolding. We're finding our own voice. Sometimes our voice is combining with the voice of another. Sometimes our voice is moving right upside another. Sometimes we're standing alone in a groove. Sometimes our voice is standing alone. But communication can be fostered, learned, modeled, practiced in a groove. Belonging. When you lock in with other members, other layers, other instruments, other voices in a groove, you will be held in a kind of belonging that is available in so few places in this world. A kind of belonging you probably don't find consistently with your closest friends and family. A groove is a place that will hold you every single time. Every single time. You will know exactly where you fit. You'll see the purpose for why you're there. You'll hear those other parts alongside you. You'll find your own voice expressed among them. You will have a sense of belonging in a groove that fosters your belief that belonging is even possible. By practicing that little bit by little bit, think about the song, Oh Happy Day. Oh happy day, oh happy day, oh happy day, oh happy day. How quickly do we have the opportunity to repeat, to redo, to refine, to take another shot at it? Even if we're not perfect in one iteration, how quickly in a groove, in the cycling of that rhythmic phrase, do we have the opportunity to build confidence that we're doing it in community with all of the other parts, right? It's a kind of confidence that we, again, have very few opportunities at that frequency to build confidence in everyday life. Creativity. You get adept at a groove, you will eventually hear that part that is not just the small phrase recycling, that roll theme. Oh, happy day. Oh, happy day. Oh, happy day. You'll hear that Dorothy Morrison's, good God. That's a total improvisation, right? Feeling where that fits, or like Whitney Houston go on other songs, going off into the stratosphere. That groove keeps happening underneath what she's doing, but she's launched into the stratosphere of creativity. You'll feel that creativity take flight in yourself when you become confident in the steady recycling of a groove. And then safety, security. There's something about gaining competence. Maybe when you're starting with, oh, happy day, you start with that phrase. That's probably the most easy one to handle. Oh, happy day. Oh, happy day. Oh, happy day. And then maybe you might move on to one that's a little trickier, like when Jesus washed. When Jesus washed. When Jesus washed. When Jesus washed. It's all on the upbeat, so it's a little trickier. He washed my sins away. He washed my sins away. What's another one? But as you move around to all the different roll themes that occur within a groove, you'll start hearing they do one part, you're doing another part, but you hear how they fit together. You become more adept at handling more things at a time. This is what's needed in building a life of security. It takes a lot of effort to keep all your plates spinning, from paying the car insurance to managing the snow shoveling. It's the coldest day of the whole 12 months here today. So handling the snow shoveling, picking up the kids from school, making sure you're fed, drinking your water, moving your body, doing your work. The amount of focus and concentration it takes to do the bare essentials of life. I'm not even talking about becoming a platinum Grammy award-winning artist. I'm talking about keeping food, clothing, shelter, transportation, and healthcare while keeping your family and yourself alive, right? That's amazing feat of mastery. And when we enter a groove, we're entering into a microcosm of that complexity where we can build a sense of competence and then a sense of security. We're able to see how we fit into the big picture, where the next thing is, how we can communicate in that context, where we're held and where our resources are, what we can do to become more adept with repetition, where we can improvise, especially when things go wrong and we need to think on our feet, and how it all works together. The sheer complexity and magnitude of being a human being. It's a lot. This is what we do in a groove. So I already mentioned a couple of the roll themes that I pull out from Oh Happy Day. What is different about what I do than how some other people use drumming is I use songs that are common among us, songs that we know. I draw out catchy rhythms, catchy lyric rhythms, I should say, translate them into drum parts, and then layer those up to become a drum song. So I've already mentioned I may pull out the rhythm, oh happy day, oh happy day. That would sound like this. Then another instrument might play when Jesus washed, when Jesus washed, when Jesus washed, and that might sound like this. And when I was first creating this groove for the drums, I felt like there was something missing when I layered up the parts. So I added a very fun part from a song famous from my freshman year of college, the B-52's Love Shack. I do believe that was probably right around that era. And the rhythm is bang, bang, bang on the door, baby, bang, bang, bang on the door, baby, bang, bang, bang on the door, baby. And I made that a shaker part in the drum song as I created it. The whole result sounds like this. And that's what I welcome people into when I'm doing a groove. You can imagine the possibilities are endless. We can use a ton of different songs, and it's so fun, so encouraging, so self-rewarding to do it. All of these deeper benefits we are enjoying, whether we verbalize them or not. We are getting these benefits. Verbalizing them, I think, just speeds our development of them and improves our access to them. Some things may be obvious to you right away, like repeating. Oh, when I repeat, I get more competent over time and my confidence grows. Well, that's a natural thing to understand. It may be even clear that sometimes I'm playing part of my role and no one's with me. Sometimes I'm playing part of my role theme and someone is with me. Sometimes my role theme might go right up against someone else's and I have a hard time holding on to my part. So you might have that understanding of the communication part. The deeper things about why we're even here, that groove creates a space where we fit. And the whole groove will not be the same if we are not in that place at the time when we need to be there. That's a very deep, kind of cosmological, etymological, whatever you want to say, question that has the deepest meaning for me when I go back to thinking about why all that repeating. The very first day I ever heard "Oh Happy Day" and thought, what is happening there? Why is this so catching? Why is it so meaningful to the people who are performing it? I'm still exploring that, and I'm still bringing that to my patients, to my family, to anyone that will listen. I am accentuating the goodness of what we've been given as human beings and the gift of the arts, and also specifically what groove has meant to me, what it's taught me, how it's transformed me as I've really submitted to the things that can be learned in it. And on this Martin Luther King Jr. Day, I both lament the power hierarchies and structures that are in place that oppress and take advantage of people. And in my case, I'm so thankful that so much beauty comes from pain and that songs like "Oh Happy Day" were ever written. Remember, together we have everything we need.
Thank you for tuning into this episode of the Brain Health Hookup. I hope this episode radiates with the conviction that generating mental wellness needs to be fun and safe. We want you to find your power and understand your innate design to flourish in everything you do. And we hope that inspires you to come back and listen for more. I'd love for you to leave a review of this podcast, as it helps this show grow to reach more people who need to make mental wellness fun. You can find a leave a review button, as well as all the YouTube visuals, bonuses, and ways we can help to support you on our website, podcast.grooveforhealth.com. I appreciate you more than words can say. See you next time, and remember, together we have everything we need.